saying earlier that you're worried about like how much Dak might be demanding now that Patrick Mahomes has got the deal.
Correct.
Um, but I actually think that I actually think that Dak Prescott was demanding that much money simply because he knew what Patrick Mahomes was getting. So I basically think that he was foreseeing the future, for better words.
Well,
He was basically saying, and that's why he didn't sign towards the end of last season. And I think it's because he was basically just trying to bide his time. He was like, I want this much
I
money. I
agree
want
with
this
you
much
on
money.
that.
They're like, no, we're not going to give that. And he's like, watch me. He said he went out there. He had a few awesome games. Okay, yeah, I still want my money. You're going to bet on me again? Okay. He went out there, betted on himself, and it came up trumps. And he knew that. Yeah, he knew that Patrick Mahomes was going to get this big deal or a deal of this kind of caliber size. So he was basically just buying time so he could then size up what he's
I
already
agree with you
demanding
there.
against that.
But but I think because of the situation and the economic situation that's going to happen, I think he's he wanted to see what Mahomes would get, but he's also, I think, going to have screwed himself because I don't think he's going to get anywhere near that kind of money with a reduced salary cap, and I don't think it's just going to be for one season. They're talking this could last for a while, so um, this could be. I mean, he calculated, he took a gamble, but I think he's going to kind of end up having to eventually take a lot less money than he thought he was going to get.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I no, and again, I agree with you. And
It
I
was a
think this is where
gamble. No,
I think this is where the foolish
it's
part of
very.
Dak Prescott comes in, because Jerry Jones as well is looking into the future, probably even a little bit further ahead than what Dak is.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
again, Dak was looking ahead to the Mahomes deal, into the future to the Mahomes deal, and hoping that he could use that as leverage to get his deal signed this
We're
season.
all
I know that Jerry Jones is actually looking ahead to, again, the salary cap. I don't care where it comes, how it comes, whether it's through loss of jersey sales, TV advertising. There's going to be a salary cap reduction. Just plain and simple. The company, the
just makes
business is
common
going to
sense.
make less money. Yeah.
Right.
And Jerry Jones is looking ahead of that, especially after paying out big contracts to Amari and to Zeke. He's looking ahead to that, and he's basically trying not to cripple himself. We know he loves spending money, but he is looking at trying not to cripple himself for those 2 or 3 years when there is a low salary cap, which is why he's prepared to give Dak his 30 million this year
Right.
on the franchise tag, but he's not prepared to give him that
It's
long-term
good.
big
I know
money
it's going
deal.
to be very interesting to see how much. Remember, it's franchise tag with a reduced salary cap. Franchise tag is not going to be as much as it was this year.
I think the franchise tag is set depending on what you got paid last year. I think it's all
But
depending on your
I,
wages. So, because like
I
Joe
well,
Tunney was going to sign a franchise tag, and his franchise tag was only going to be worth 14.5 million. So it's all dependent on what you've been getting paid, and
right,
obviously if you sign a franchise tag this year, if
right.
you sign it for a second year, it has to be X% more than what you got paid on the previous
Okay,
one.
we'll
So
see if
he
that's
will
not
get he will if he signs a
negotiated.
second one, he will get paid more. But the question is, do you think he will sign a second one? Honestly, I can see him just being out. It's Dak and
If he
out
doesn't,
basically.
then I'm going to tell you, he is, unless he wins the Super Bowl this year, and even that is not a guarantee, but he has had 4 years in the NFL. He, Jerry Jones is willing to pay him a good salary, but he is not going to go to that top elite salary and pay him top three. He's
Hmm.
just not willing to do that because Dak has not proven that he's worth it. He's been injured. He's not his. He hasn't won a playoff game. He's played in what, two and lost them both, and they were
Yeah,
both at home, I think.
but if you actually look at some of his numbers aren't that bad. We'd probably have to have another chat about that when I have them in front of me. But his numbers aren't actually that bad, and the problem always lies on the quarterback and the coach. But
Right.
ultimately, everyone needs to remember that this is a team sport. So, Dak can have wicked numbers. Zeke can be running for thousands and thousands of yards every game, which is one of the reasons why, Dak's numbers have dropped a little bit. But at the end of the day, if they don't have the defense to hold them up, what's it matter? Like, they're still going to lose. But no one ever blames the defense for losing games. They always blame the quarterback.
Always blame the
So,
quarterback. I agree.
next year, quick one to wrap this up. Then next year, what do you reckon is going to happen with Dak? Do you reckon he's going to sign a contract? Do you reckon he's going to be franchise tagged, or do you reckon he's going to dip out and find a new team?
I think the circumstances are going to force him to sign another franchise tag, because he's not going to be happy when Jerry Jones says, "Wait a minute, that offer I made to you for $30 million a year, that's off the table now because of the economic situation."
I actually reckon next year he's going to be with another team wearing another jersey.